Almost 20 years ago, Casino Royale with Daniel Craig reinvented the super spy for a whole new generation. But things almost didn't play out that way. In fact, we came very close to an entire alternate history in which a young lad from the Channel Islands would have donned the tux instead. Back in 2022, it was confirmed that Craig's main competition for the lead role in Casino Royale was Henry Cavill, and ever since, we've heard more and more about the actor's never-realized Bond. Now, we actually have his Casino Royale audition tape, and maybe it's not quite as tremendous as director Martin Campbell would have had us believe.
Welcome martini shaken instead.
The audition leaked on YouTube and sees a 22-year-old Cavill perform dialogue from 1995's GoldenEye, another Campbell-helmed Bond entry. The actor previously told the Happy Sad Confused podcast that while it came down to just him and Craig back in 2005, he admitted that he wasn't ready at the time. Going by the tape, we're sorry to say that was probably true. The audition shows a long-haired Cavill remaining oddly still as he reads the lines, barely moving his head throughout the scene.
I never learned that trick. Perhaps you'll show me how it's done.
Campbell maintains that Cavill would have made a great Bond, but he was a little young at the time, which is why he missed out on the role. Though we've heard much about how Henry Cavill was in the running for Bond and how good he would have been, we're just not sure this audition tape gives us the proof we need. If nothing else, it proves that producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson were right to go with Craig, not that Cavill himself has ever disagreed.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
The very words I live by.
Though there are flashes of charisma and occasional eyebrow raises, his overall delivery is surprisingly wooden and reserved. While that might have translated to a certain kind of intensity on the big screen, it's not clear at all that his restrained take on the material was working in the audition room, and it doesn't seem at all like the right fit for Casino Royale. Taking cues from the genre-redefining grittiness of the Bourne Identity, Casino Royale introduced Bond as more of a tortured loner. While Craig could project the 007 cool the character was known for, he also seemed to be seething in some awful way just below the surface. Sadly, as more Craig-led movies arrived, they got progressively worse, culminating in the absurd finale of No Time to Die. It was a sad end to a Bond tenure that began as well as it possibly could. Following Craig's retirement from the lead role, there have been renewed calls for Cavill to be considered, with the actor himself even admitting he'd still be open to the prospect of playing 007. The closest we've ever gotten to a Cavill Bond was 2015's box office bomb, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., in which the British actor portrayed an American agent, but was essentially showcasing his abilities as a quasi-Bond. Meanwhile, Anthony Starr's James Bond audition also leaked online, showing just how many possibilities there once were for an entirely different Bond. But there's no doubt that Craig was the man for the job, even if he did everything he could to sabotage his casting as 007. And there's no doubt that Cavill came out ahead on the decision too. Between Superman, The Witcher, and dozens of other blockbuster roles, he certainly didn't need a job at MI6 to build a thriving career.